Hello, my dear friends. Yeah, we are moving on to the last part of this chapter, the last topics of this chapter. Okay, so with this session, we are going to end this chapter. Okay, and tomorrow or in the next session, we'll discuss the question answers. All right, so I wish all my students understand what I speak, what I want to convey. Okay, my dear students. Yeah, so please listen. Yeah, my dear students, my dear friends, the first session that we are going to do today is 5.11, that is consistent use of tense. That means we should maintain tense. That means we should not use all the tenses that we know in our academic paper or in our writing. Got it? And what is the reason? Why is it told that we should maintain tense or we should, use tense in consistent form? What is the reason? What is the meaning of consistent use? Means permanent. I mean, a kind of maintain tense. You should not use all the tenses interchangeable. It is you use present tense and then you move on to past tense immediately. No. Got it. So we should be able to maintain a tense if it is possible. And what is the reason, my dear students? It is to maintain logical sequence and readability. Because as you are writing something in present tense and suddenly if you switch over to past tense, what happens? Suddenly the time represented using that past tense becomes past. Got it? So sometimes it may affect the logical sequence of the writing. So you should not do that. Got it? So you should, to maintain logical sequence and to enhance readability or comprehensibility, we have to stick on to certain tenses. As you already know, while you narrate a story, if you're narrating an incident, you have to do that in past tense. നമ്മൾ കഥ പറയുമ്പോൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു കാര്യം സംഭവിച്ചതായിട്ട് പറയുമ്പോൾ you have to use past tense. Whereas if you're writing an analysis or a critical analysis of a film or kind of review of a product or of a work or of something, maybe a product or a film or of a book, if you're doing a critical analysis of these things, you have to do that in present tense. Got it? I believe you understand. So there are certain tenses which are applicable in certain kinds of writing. You should have an awareness about it and then you should follow it. Please don't use all the tenses that we know in our writing. Got it? Thank you, my dears. We'll move on to next topic. Yeah, now next topic is parallelism, which we have already discussed in the first audio lecture. But I thought, since it's very, very important as far as your exam, your university exam is concerned, as well as your internals. Alright, so this topic is really important, my dear students. Okay, now what is parallelism? Parallelism is a stylistic feature in writing where ideas are presented using grammatically similar or structurally identical words and expression. Please note the terms grammatically similar or structurally identical words and expressions. Now, why should we use parallel structures in our writing, my dear students? Because it enhances readability of our work. And it helps us to achieve greater clarity and economy in the use of language. Greater clarity and economy means what here? See, when we use parallel structures in our writing, in our sentences, we can convey ideas using minimal words. If we don't use parallel structures, sometimes there is all the chance for our sentences to be pretty much lengthier. Alright, let me explain with the example which is there in the textbook. Alright, he was interested in reading novels, visiting ruins, and he collects stamps. Okay, see there are three structures over there. Reading novels, again visiting ruins, these two are parallel, but we have a non-parallel structure there, which what is that? And he collects stamps. and he collects stamps. So when we use non-parallel structure, we might need to use unnecessary words over there. Instead, if we follow parallel structure in our sentences, there we can save certain words. How can we make the sentence parallel? He was interested in reading novels, visiting ruins and collecting stamps. Got it? So, three structures go parallel or three structures go similarly. See, reading novels, visiting ruins and collecting stamps. The verbs that end in ing. Alright, next, let me give an example for another non-parallel sentence. You can pass the exam only if you answer quickly, clearly and with accuracy. You can pass the exam only if you answer quickly, clearly and with accuracy is a sentence which can be called non-parallel because the structures like quickly and clearly go parallel or go, almost identical structure, but we have another structure which is not identical. What is that? Or which is not similar. What is that? And with accuracy. So instead of using and with accuracy, you can just revise the word like this: and accurately. You can pass the exam only if you answer quickly, clearly and accurately. Got it? What happens? Your sentence becomes parallel over there. I believe you understood. Another example is Faiz loves cricket, football and reading books. Faiz loves cricket, football and reading books. That is a non-parallel sentence because the structures are not parallel over there. How can we correct it? How can we revise it? Faiz loves cricket, football and volleyball. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I believe understood what is parallelism. Parallelism means it's very easy and very important topic. Alright. It's very easy because we have to present our ideas using grammatically similar or identical, structurally identical words. Only that. Okay. So let me believe my students have understood this topic and we'll move on to next topic. Okay, my dears. Yeah. Now, shall I believe you have understood all the topics that we have covered until now? Yes. Okay. Now we are moving on to another topic, that is avoiding wordiness. You should avoid wordiness in our academic papers. Now, what is wordiness? Wordiness is the imperfection caused by the use of more words than the meaning demands. For example, if I ask you to write something on coronavirus or COVID-19, you may have different thoughts. And when you pen down, you may feel that if you revise your first draft, you might feel that this is not good. You can change this sentence or you can eliminate different words and you may add a more appropriate word like that. So in the editing stage, you will understand when you prepare your first draft, you will understand that certain words are unnecessarily written. Got it? Certain words are unnecessarily written just to make your writing lengthier. So, if you remove such words which are unnecessary, which are not really important to your writing, there will be no wordiness. But if you don't edit your passage, there might be great chance for your writing to be wordy. I believe you understood what I meant. Got it? So, wordiness is actually an imperfection which is caused by using more words than required. Okay, and if you don't check your passage or your writing, what will happen? If you don't edit, if you don't revise, what will happen? There is great many chance for your passage to be wordy. Wordy means what? Using more words. Okay. You know what? There are certain words which are called verbal garbage. Verbal garbage. Garbage means what? Waste. Certain words are not at all necessary in our academic paper. For example, in an academic text, words like very, kind of, sort of, actually, really, all these words are unnecessarily used. So please don't use these kinds of words. What are they? Words like very, kind of, sort of, actually, really, etc. Or definitely, such words. These words can be avoided. These words are called verbal garbage. Garbage means waste. Why are they called verbal garbage? Because they do not often contribute much in making your work meaningful. They do not necessarily add meaning to your writing. So these words are not necessary to be written. Such words are called verbal garbage. If you avoid these kinds of words, you can or your writing will not be wordy. I believe this idea is clear. I may give a few examples. Alright. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing our speaker. Most of you might have heard this thing a lot in almost all the speeches, right? It gives me immense pleasure in introducing our speaker. Thing is that since there are too many words, the sentence becomes wordy. So how should you correct it? I am pleased to introduce our speaker. How did I revise it? I am pleased to introduce our speaker. അല്ലേ ഒരുപാട് വാക്കുകൾ അവിടെ പോയി. Gives me immense pleasure എന്നുള്ള വാക്കുകളൊക്കെ വെട്ടിച്ചുരുക്കി എങ്ങനെയാക്കി I am pleased to introduce our speaker. That means the sentence becomes shorter and meaningful, right? Yes. The next sentence is like this. The campus placement drive was attended by 500 students. 58 students received offer letters. See, there are two sentences, right? We can avoid certain words which make the sentence wordy, and we can revise the sentence like this. 58 out of 500 received offer letters in the campus drive. What happens? The sentence becomes shorter. All the elements which make the above sentences, two sentences wordy, have been eliminated. Got it? So this is all about, I'll give another example. Alright. The coat, the COAT, coat. The coat that Anida wore for the party was blue in color. അല്ലേ അന്ന് പാർട്ടിക്ക് അനിത ധരിച്ച കോട്ട് ബ്ലൂ കളർ ആയിരുന്നു ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. And the same sentence, I'll repeat the sentence which is wordy again. The coat that Anida wore for the party was blue in color. The sentence is wordy. We can revise it in this way. Anida wore a blue coat for the party. Anida wore a blue coat for the party. The sentence becomes shorter, avoiding all the or eliminating all the elements that makes the sentence wordy. I'll give one more example. Okay, there was a time when the Arakan forest turtle was thought by scientists to be extinct. It is a particular species of turtle was thought by scientists to be extinct. The sentence is so lengthier and we can shorten it like this. Scientists once thought the Arakan forest turtle was extinct. So the sentence becomes shorter from the above sentence, right? Yes. So this is what is meant by wordiness. Again, wordiness is something caused because of usage of unnecessary or unimportant words than required. Okay, so when we avoid such words, of course we can achieve sentences without being, or we can write sentences without being wordy. Alright? Yeah. So in the next session we'll see how can we avoid wordiness. This is all about avoiding wordiness. In the next session, we are going to see what strategy should you employ to avoid wordiness. Okay, students? Yeah, thank you. Hi, my dear students. We are moving on to the last topic of the chapter, how to eliminate wordiness. My dear students, we have already seen what is wordiness. Wordiness is an imperfection which is caused because of the usage of unnecessary words than required to convey our ideas. So my dear students, while you edit or revise your work, we have to make sure that we eliminate wordiness. One important way to eliminate wordiness from your work is by using the language of your discipline. I'll explain with example from the textbook. That is, literature students might know what is a sonnet. A sonnet is a poem which has 14 lines. Alright, it is 3 stanzas of 4 lines. 3 stanzas of 4 lines and a couplet. Couplet means a stanza which has 2 lines. Okay, now I'll read a sentence for you. Alright. The poem consists of 14 lines. There are 3 4-line stanzas and a 2-line stanza. So this is about sonnet. Literature students might feel that this is a wordy sentence because they know the technical terms to be used instead of certain words in this line or in this sentence. Alright, now a literature student might revise the sentence like this. The sonnet, the poem consists of 14 lines. These number of words has been reduced to a word like sonnet. See, sonnet. Because sonnet is a poem which has 14 lines, right? So sonnet consists of 3 quatrains. What is a quatrain? Quatrain is a stanza which has 4 lines. Alright, so 3 quatrains and a couplet. Couplet means what? A stanza which has 2 lines. Alright, so this big sentence has been reduced to a very small sentence because what is the reason? Because the words used in these small sentence are words which belong to the particular discipline. I'll read that sentence again. The poem consists of 14 lines. There are 3 4-line stanzas and a 2-line stanza. So 3 4-line stanzas ennulla padangalellam churikki engane parayunne 3 quatrains. Quatrains means a stanza which has 4 lines. Understood? And a 2-line stanza, these words have been replaced using the word couplet. These words are known by a literature student. So, if we use terms which are pertaining to particular discipline, we can reduce the number of words that we use. Alright? I believe you've understood what I meant. Alright. The next tip or the next way to eliminate wordiness from your work is replace stock phrases with one word equivalents. What is stock phrase? Stock phrase is nothing but certain phrases which we always use together, which conveys same meaning in almost same context. ഒരേ കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റിൽ സെയിം മീനിങ് തരുന്ന എപ്പോഴും ഒരുമിച്ച് നിൽക്കുന്ന വാക്കുകളുടെ ഒരു സമുച്ചയത്തിന് പറയുന്ന പേരാണ് സ്റ്റോക്ക് ഫ്രേസ്. എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞാൽ you'll understand. Due to the fact that is a stock phrase. Due to the fact that. Due to the fact that means what? Because. അല്ലേ? Because എന്ന അർത്ഥം തരുന്ന ഒരു phrase ആണ് due to the fact that. അല്ലേ? It is always used together. The words in this phrase will be always used together to convey the same meaning and almost same context. Alright, such phrases are called stock phrases. Or another example is, the teacher is aware of the fact that these topics are really helpful for the students. The teacher is aware of the fact that these topics are really important and helpful for the students. Alright, so is aware of the fact that is an example for a stock phrase. Is aware of the fact that എന്നുള്ള ആ ഫ്രേസ് സ്റ്റോക്ക് ഫ്രേസിന് എക്സാമ്പിളാണ്. നമ്മൾ അതിന് പകരമായി പറയാവുന്ന കാര്യം എന്താ? നോ. നോ എന്നുള്ള ആ വാക്കിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം തന്നെയാണ് is aware of the fact that എന്ന് വരുന്നത്. So instead of the phrase is aware of the fact that, we can use much simpler term like no, which might help you to eliminate wordiness from your work. Okay, so instead of due to the fact that is another example for stop phrase, due to the fact that. So instead of using due to the fact that, we can use because. Due to the fact that എന്ന ഫ്രേസിന് പകരം നമുക്ക് എന്ത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം? ബിക്കോസ് എന്ന വാക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. സോ അത്രയും വാക്കുകൾ നമ്മൾ ചുരുക്കി ഒറ്റ വേർഡാക്കി. റൈറ്റ്? So I believe my students have understood. Alright. Now next step or next way to eliminate wordiness എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, avoid redundant expressions. I have explained what is redundant expression, so I believe my students might know by this time. Alright. Now we should avoid such kinds of expressions. Example, advance reservation. Advance reservation is a redundant phrase. Why? Because reservation is something that we always do in advance. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ advance എന്ന വാക്കിന് പ്രസക്തിയില്ല, because reservation എന്ന വാക്കിൽ advance booking ആണെങ്കിൽ advance എന്നുള്ള സംഭവം അവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. So there is no need of the usage of the word advance. Alright, next example is usual custom. Usual custom is another example for redundant expression. അപ്പോൾ എന്താണ്? Because custom is something that we do usually. Alright, so why should we use usual before custom? Custom എന്ന് മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യൂഷ്വൽ പ്രാക്ടീസ് ആണെന്നുള്ളത് മനസ്സിലാവും. So there is no need of using the word usual over there. Okay, അപ്പം such expressions മാറ്റി, instead of using advanced reservation, which is a redundant expression, you should use what? Just the term reservation. Instead of using usual custom together, which makes it redundant, what should we do? We should just use the word custom. Repeat again? No, repeat is enough, because repeat means something that we should do again. Alright, so that just avoid unnecessary words like this. Okay, then next tip is, don't begin your sentences using it. When we begin your sentences using it, there is or there are, what happens? Your sentences will become much lengthier. I have already given an example like this. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing our esteemed speaker. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing our esteemed speaker. What happens? The sentence is pretty much lengthier. We can shorten it using, I am pleased to introduce our speaker. I am pleased to introduce our speaker. So please don't begin your sentences using it or there is or there are. Another example is like this. There was a time, I have already mentioned that example with you, but still, there was a time when the American forest turtle was thought by scientists to be extinct. See, when we begin the sentences using there was or there is or there are, what happens? Your sentence will become lengthier. Okay, you need to tell only like this, right? Scientists once thought the American forest turtle was extinct. Throw അല്ലേ? ആ ചെറിയ സെൻറ്റൻസിനെയാണ് ഇറ്റ് എന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയതുകൊണ്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ there is, there are എന്നൊക്കെ തുടങ്ങുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് വലിയ സെൻറ്റൻസ് ആകുന്നത്. സോ ഡോണ്ട് ബിഗിൻ യുവർ സെൻറ്റൻസസ് യൂസിങ് ദ വേർഡ്സ് ഇറ്റ്, there is, there are. Okay, and please avoid words like very, quite, just, etc. Don't use the words like very, quite, just, because these are called verbal garbage in academic paper. Okay, and reduce the words like that, which are used as connecting words, which might make your sentences lengthier. For example, the coat that Anita wore for the party was blue in color. The coat that Anita wore for the party was blue in color. The sentence is pretty much big. You can reduce it like this. Anita wore a blue coat for the party. Anita wore a blue coat for the party. So that, this and all, these kinds of words can be eliminated at a step to make your work highly effective and highly presentable. Okay, my dear students, I believe we have got all these different points which help you, write very beautiful, very effective academic paper. Okay, my dear students. Thank you. Bye.